Speak now to Donna Jackson, who's a senior lecturer in American history at University of Chester. Very good morning to you, Donna. Just first of all, so that people understand how this works in practice in the US, this now is essentially about geography, where you live and what the state you're in decides.
Absolutely. Good morning to you both. The American political system is a federal system, so Congress can make some laws that affect the nation as a whole, but other areas it's down to the individual state to decide what is legal or not legal in that state. And until yesterday, states were not allowed to restrict abortion in the first trimester, the first 3 months. Now they are, and some already have, of course.
So supposing, Donna, a woman was in one of these 13 states that have already passed these trigger laws, which means literally, as the judgment came out, abortion was illegal. If I'm in one of those places and I need to have an abortion, what am I allowed to do?
Well, depending again on state law. So states could pass laws prohibiting pregnant women from travelling, and that's assuming, of course, that any pregnant woman can afford to travel. These sort of laws, they attack women. This is not about the unborn child. This is an attack on women, and it will affect poor women, disadvantaged women. It's going to affect them the most. If you like, the people that society perhaps should be taking care of, they are the ones that are going to suffer the most. And bear in mind, of course, as some of your other people have said, this is an extreme thing from really the right wing of the Republican Party. They don't want to pass laws providing free health care. Once a woman becomes pregnant, she's on her own. So this is, they're not doing anything to help that unborn child. They're leaving the woman alone. They just want to prevent the right to seek an abortion, basically to tell women what they can do with their own body in the first 3 months. So it's government interfering in an incredibly personal, private area. And much of the debate isn't about wanting to kill babies. It's not about that at all. It's about the right of women to choose what happens in their lives and to their own bodies. This is an absolute attack on women.
Donna, the reality is, of course, that generations now of women have grown up with the right to have an abortion. So yeah. It's radically changing, 20s, 30s, 40s. These are all people who have just grown up with that being a norm.
Yeah, and I mean, what we have to remember with the Roe decision, it wasn't an unlimited right. After 3 months, states, all of them, could pass laws that limited abortion in some way. So there's always been qualifications to that right, and many of them rightly so. For example, a law saying you can only have an abortion in a hospital or a clinic with qualified professionals, perfectly reasonable laws. But it's that first 3 months, that the time of choice where, especially if you're a victim of rape or incest, or there's a scan that shows your child cannot survive, it's those women that are now being affected. And even those women who maybe made a mistake or whatever, it's society saying to them, you have to live with that mistake and we won't help you. You're on your own, and punishing women, not incidentally punishing the men who got the women pregnant, but punishing the women. This is absolutely, as Anna said, an attack on women and taking away their personal right, saying basically society is saying to women, you are not capable of making a decision for yourself. It is downgrading the status of women.
So what we've seen is some of the protests of those people who object to this latest decision. To what extent, Donna, what are the numbers around the people who approve of this decision, who approve of the ban on abortion? Because this is a significant chunk of American society that is of that opinion. Notwithstanding what other people might think, there is a significant numbers. Just give me a sense of that.
Well, interestingly, because they poll on this constantly, and the number, so this is a conservative estimate. Those who are pro-life, totally pro-life, is about 35%. Some polls have it going down as low as 25%. So the majority of people in America, men and women, support basically the Roe decision. So the right to seek an abortion should be there. It is a woman's right, even if there are some limitations on that right, depending on how far the pregnancy is advanced and things like that, or rape or incest. The only exception is now to protect the life of the mother, but that's because, again, the extreme right wing want those women to survive so they can have more children. the pro-life argument is also connected to the idea of where women should be, where they contribute to society. The idea that a woman's place is in the home is still very much alive and well with certain people in America, but it is only between about 25% to 35%. If there was a national referendum, the pro-choice argument, the abortion with limitations as appropriate, the pro-choice argument would win. But they are not represented on the Supreme Court. It is the Supreme Court who's made this decision. 6 people deciding the life of millions.
Donna Jackson, thank you very much. Donna is a
Pleasure.
senior lecturer in American history at the University of Chester, just taking through the numbers, the way it works out in the American system, that decision from the Supreme Court.